Hello everyone and welcome to the Astrology of January. Now I'm going to start off this video by talking about the astrology specific to January, and then at the end of this video I am going to talk about the most important upcoming transits of 2023. And it's pretty exciting. I'm very much looking forward to 2023 and I can't wait to talk to you about the astrology of January. Here are the major transits taking place this month that I'd like to focus on. On January 2nd, we have Venus entering Aquarius. On January 6th, we have the full moon in Cancer. On January 12th, we have Mars stationing direct in the sign of Gemini. On January 18th, we have Mercury stationing direct in the sign of Capricorn. On January 20th, we have the Sun entering Aquarius, welcoming Aquarius season. On January 21st, we have the new moon in Aquarius. On January 22nd, we have Uranus stationing direct in the sign of Taurus. And on January 26th, we have Venus entering Pisces. Okay, let's get into January. I want to first start off by saying that we did have Mercury station retrograde on December 29th, and we still have Mars in Gemini in a retrograde period. So the energy that we're entering January with is still very much slow and reflective. So we still are lacking a little bit of motivation, and we are probably feeling maybe a little bit of frustration there because we're lacking that motivation. And we have a lot of these ideas coming in, but there's not a lot of progress. So Mercury in retrograde period starting the year off is actually really, really lovely, because it allows us to reflect, reset, reevaluate what's working and what's no longer working. On January 1st, we have Mercury sextile Neptune, and this is also a really dreamy, relaxing energy. So it allows us to kind of kick back, relax, get in that like dreamy state and kind of look beyond the small picture, and like we're looking at the bigger picture of life and like just letting ourselves kind of dream about what the future looks like. On that same day, Venus in Capricorn is conjunct Pluto. Now, this can have us craving a little bit more affection. So those of you who are single, you might really be craving like that emotional connection with another person. Can make us feel a little lonely if we don't have that. And those who are in a relationship are just connecting on a more intimate level. On January 2nd, we have Venus entering Aquarius. So Venus is the planet of love, beauty, it's our self-worth, it's our values, it's also directly related to our finances. And so here, this is like a little bit more unconventional and more independent in our social relationships and the collective. And there's more of a need for freedom of expression here. So this is very much like valuing other people other than ourselves, because it's like a collective energy. So we're able to kind of think outside of ourselves, and we're really leaning into this value of space, freedom, and individualistic identity. So it's a little bit more unconventional. It's not that lovey-dovey energy when it's in Aquarius, because Aquarius is very much like aloof, distance, but it is very much leaning into that unique authenticity. On January 3rd, we have Venus sextile Jupiter. So this is a really lovely transit because Jupiter and Venus are considered the benefics in astrology. So they're considered like the good planets, and they bring a little bit more good luck and good feelings. So this is very nourishing. It's very comforting, and it has us feeling warm and happy inside. So it's a really lovely transit to kind of enter the year with. The only thing that we need to be mindful of always with Jupiter is to not overindulge and lean into that excess, because Jupiter is expansion. So of course, too much of anything is not a good thing. On January 5th, we have the Sun in Capricorn trine Uranus in Taurus. So this is about expanding our life through new encounters, and it's an excellent transit for engaging in new activities and engaging with new people. So new socializing atmosphere. It's really lovely for that. And it's very open-minded and adventurous, because Uranus is like freedom, and it's like innovation, and the Sun is all about how we express ourselves, how we show up in the world. So this is like positive change, opportunity, there's excitement, and there's this need to kind of like step outside our normal routine. On January 6th, we have our first lunation of 2023, and it is the full moon in Cancer. So the full moon in Cancer, it's a sensitive placement, of course, and it invites us to kind of sit with our emotions, because Cancer is very intuitive. It's the water sign. It's sensitive. It really allows us to kind of get deep in the feels. And so with this full moon, we're able to kind of hold stillness and really lean into how we're feeling and kind of like heal through our emotions and really sit with what's going on in our inner world. It also is an invitation to kind of lean into our intuition, because Cancer is really, really intuitive. So trusting that intuition and allowing this lunation to really light our world and kind of like tune into maybe what we haven't been focusing on or what we need to do, tend to and focus on and heal through. So we're being asked to kind of lean into compassion, kindness, and how do we nourish ourselves? Like, how do we take care of ourselves? So that is the full moon in Cancer. On January 7th, we have the Sun conjunct Mercury. So this is an excellent time to start a new project. Remember, the Sun is our expression, Mercury is our communication. Also remember that Mercury is still in that retrograde period. So this can bring a little bit more of a high level of energy, but because it's in a retrograde period, we might not have the same level of energy that we would have if it was stationed direct. Ego energies can be high. There can be a boost of like positive energy, and this transit can highlight whether or not you are satisfied with your life. So this is a really good transit to go through during a Mercury retrograde, because it allows us to kind of like reevaluate, reassess what's working, what's no longer working, and where do we want our life, what direction do we want our life to move forward in the next few weeks. So lovely transit during a retrograde period. On January 8th, we have Mercury trine Uranus. So this allows us to open our mind to new possibilities, and it's an extremely stimulating transit as it allows us to uncover new discoveries, new ideas, and our intuition is especially strong here. So we're able to kind of think outside the box and gain insights. On January 9th, we have Venus trine Mars. So this transit increases our desire for social contact and enjoyment. So Venus is our values. Mars is that, again, like action. It's like the planet of sex and war. So our creativity is a little bit more stimulated. This can be a beneficial time to date. Just keep in mind that Mars is in a retrograde period, so it's still slow moving. So just make sure that you're really like reassessing, reevaluating, and being clear on what you really, really want, especially if you are embarking on a new relationship. This is also a really good time if you're already in an existing relationship to kind of discuss any lingering tension that might be going on within the relationship. And this can come up especially during a retrograde period. So maybe just kind of like clearing the air with any discomfort or tension or anything that needs to be acknowledged in your relationships. And this could be friendships, this could be romantic relationships. On January 12th, we have Mars and Gemini stationing direct. This should feel really, really good for most of us, because I don't think there's anyone out there who's not being impacted by Mars and Gemini retrograde. It's left us feeling unmotivated, maybe feeling stuck, a little bit restless, and maybe just like having a really hard time communicating and getting through to our loved ones. So when Mars stations direct, it'll be a lot easier to overcome any of those roadblocks, and we should get a kickstart back to our motivation, which should feel really, really good after being in such a long retrograde period. We've been feeling like this since late October. So this is a really good time to kind of put your energy. You'll finally have the energy to tackle those projects that maybe have been like left on the back burner, and you'll have the energy to pursue your goals and dreams. So this should feel really, really good. We're gonna start to, like, January started slow, and this is where we're gonna start to get that energy picking up again. And good news is that Mars won't retrograde again until late 2024. So take advantage of Mars in that direct period, because it's a lot more motivating and it's a lot more encouraging and helpful. And Mars will remain in Gemini until March 25th, 2023. Now on January 13th, we have the Sun sextile Neptune in Pisces. So this can lower our energy a little bit, because the Sun is our vitality, our life force, and Neptune is dreamy and intuitive. And I find like Neptune energy is always a little bit slow. So our energy level can be a little bit depleted. And we might feel like we want to withdraw from our regular routine. So don't worry about that. Just focus on what's important to you, and try not to stress yourself out too much if you are feeling that lack of energy. It's a really good day to kind of like get deeper in your inner world and maybe tap into like that spiritual nature and maybe some meditation and slow movement. On January 14th, we have Venus square Uranus. So this is not generally like a really profound transit, but it can bring a focus to our romantic relationships because of Venus here. So this can kind of bring a focus more so to the relationships that are maybe a little bit rocky, or maybe there's like that tension that needs to be dealt with. We'll have to kind of like deal with that now, because when Venus and Uranus meet up, we can kind of feel bored or stagnant in our relationship. So like Uranus kind of wants to spice things up and kind of step outside of the comfort zone. And sometimes we can like create drama just simply to like liven a situation. So just be mindful of that. Anyone who's in a really strong, healthy relationship, you probably won't feel this that much. And also important if you are entering into a new relationship, anytime Uranus is involved, the relationships can come in just as quickly as they can leave. So just keep yourself aware of that if you meet anyone under this transit. On January 18th, we have Mercury stationing direct. So now we have 2 planets that station direct. So that motivation, that energy is really starting to come back. So anytime that a planet stations direct, it activates the energy of the planet a little bit more. So that's communication, technology, travel, all those things. So we're able to kind of gain some clarity on anything that was confusing. Anything that's maybe been unresolved will start to kind of clear up under it stationing direct. And it's a really good time to kind of look to see where Mercury was transiting through your chart. So reminder, Mercury's in Capricorn right now. So look to see where Capricorn falls in your chart. You're probably going to gain more clarity and insight, and anything that was confusing in that area of your life will start to clear up and start to make sense. And of course, like anything that was miscommunicated or unresolved will resolve itself now that Mercury has stationed direct, which is really nice. On that same day, we have the Sun conjunct Pluto, and this is kind of like an increase in our personal power, which is kind of cool that it's happening on the same day that Mercury stations direct. So it favors more of that like research, investigation, inquisitive mind. And it's a really good time to kind of get to the bottom of anything that's been going on in your relationships and your one-on-one relationships, which again is really good, happening on the same day that Mercury stations direct, clearing up any of that confusion. Really good for transformation as well. On January 20th, we have the Sun entering Aquarius. We're entering Aquarius season, and you know, as an Aquarius, I love Aquarius season. So this is all about innovation. This is kind of tapping into the collective. It is an excellent time to focus your energy, and there's aspirations for change. It's kind of like leaning into your authenticity. How do you express yourself? And allowing yourself to really open your mind to new possibilities. Aquarius season is so fun. It's quirky. Let yourself be a little weird. Aquariuses are the weirdos of the zodiac. So let yourself have some fun and don't take life too seriously. The very next day, on January 21st, we have a new moon in Aquarius. So the new moon in Aquarius allows us to clarify our vision and intentions under this lunar cycle. So remember that new moons are a fresh start. They're a new beginning. They're a blank slate. They set the next 4 weeks kind of forward. So what are your intentions for the next 4 weeks? And remember that lunations and like under astrology, so this new moon in Aquarius, this is going to set up the next 6 months until we find that full moon in Aquarius. So kind of like tracking those goals and those intentions during that period. So this is like a feeling of openness. It's really leaning into, again, your authenticity. How do you express yourself? How do you show up as you? And what is your ideal vision for the future? Because Aquarius is very future oriented. So it's allowing you to kind of think beyond what you think is possible, because Aquarius is also the dreamer. As an air sign, it is flighty and it's open, and it's always looking for new technology and new ways, and how we can help the collective and how we can help people other than ourselves. On January 22nd, we have Uranus stationing direct in Taurus. That's 3 planets stationing direct this month. we should get a boost of energy just because of that. So again, this is activating the energy of this planet. So Uranus is freedom, it's innovation, it's technology, it's change. So this is kind of like an attempt to be free from material resources and financial obligations, finding creative ways to establish security, because again, Uranus is that freedom, that change, and Taurus is kind of grounded. So Uranus and Taurus is very much like influencing climate change and how we are dealing with the earth and the land, because Taurus is the earth. And we're trying to find new ways to kind of move forward in the world. So this is economical invention, solving issues of environmentalism, and this is breaking free from old patterns that are no longer serving you and no longer serving the collective. On January 22nd, we have Venus conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. So when these two planets meet up, Venus is our values, it is love, beauty, it's finances, Saturn is structure, stability. So we can start to gain further insight and clarity on our finances. Maybe we are finding better ways to manage our finances and finding new ways to kind of save and earn money in a more productive manner. And of course, it's in the sign of Aquarius, so this is still like innovation. So maybe finding creative ways to earn money and finding new ways to really save and gain those resources. Our relationships can get tested under this influence because again, it's like structure and stability coming into our romantic affairs. So anything that's been on the rocks, it will have to be confronted. As you can see, there's that recurring theme. A lot of relationships that have issues that haven't been confronted this month are going to have to be confronted and tested. This is also a really good time to kind of focus on those one-on-one relationships and like what you value in all relationships, not just romantic affairs. And this is also a good opportunity to focus on yourself before you focus on other people. So making sure that you're taking care of you so that you can take care of other people as well. We can, of course, have some difficulty connecting emotionally. Aquarius is a little bit more aloof, a little bit more distant. So we can have some difficulty there, especially when Saturn's involved. So just being mindful of that and allowing yourself to kind of move slowly through this transit. On January 26th, we have Venus entering Pisces. Now, I kind of love this. My Pisces rising loves Venus and Pisces because it's so dreamy and it's romantic and it's like this idealistic view on love. And I know that that's not always great, but it's just like that really like dreamy, hopeless, romantic energy. So it's tender, it's gentle, it's kind-hearted, it's sensitive. There's just like this feeling of love and romance in the air, which I'm here for. So hopefully you love it as much as I do. There's like more of an empathy for others, and also we're more creative and more dreamy, and we're able to really lean into the beauty of life. On January 9th, we have the Sun trine Mars. So this is a boost in self-confidence and enthusiasm. This is an excellent time to start new projects, develop new ideas, and there's an increased motivation and confidence in the air. So this should feel really good. And there's a strong desire to take action. Now this should feel especially good considering that we've had so many planets in a retrograde period and we've been really lacking that motivation and feeling frustrated. Now Mars is in Gemini, so it can be a little chaotic when it comes to focusing our energy. So when the Sun trines Mars, we should be able to really focus our energy on what needs to be done right now. On January 29th, we also have Mercury trine Uranus. So this is an incredibly stimulating transit, and it helps like awaken the mind and makes us feel more alive. So we're ending the month with a lot of energy, a lot of motivation, and a lot of confidence. So this should feel really good, especially after such a long period of slow energy and like lacking that motivation. So this is exciting. Our mind is open to new possibilities. We're able to solve problems, start new projects, and our intuition is also especially strong under this transit, and conversations feel more exciting and electric, and we're just like excited to do things, exciting to expand our mind, excited to kind of like meet new people, try new things. Basically, you'll gain the most out of this transit if you're open-minded and ready for anything. So that is the month of January. So as you can see, the month of January starts off really slow we have Mars retrograde, we have Mercury retrograde, and we have Uranus retrograde. by the middle of the month, like January 18th, we're starting to get that peak of energy again. We're starting to increase that motivation, starting to feel a lot better, and we end the month on a really positive note. So let me know what you're excited for. I can't wait for the month of January. I think it's going to be a really good month. And next up, we're going to talk about the most important transits of 2023. Okay, let's talk about the upcoming transits for 2023. I'm so excited because we have a lot of energetic shifts and changes happening, and it should be a really exciting new year. So first off, we have Jupiter that entered Aries once again on December 20th, and it's going to stay there until May 2023. So when Jupiter's in Aries, look to see where Aries is in your chart. This is where you're expanding. This is where you're growing. Aries is more direct. It's fast. And of course, that expansion, it can be a little bit too much because Aries energy is very much like act first, think later. So just be mindful of that, especially depending on where it is in your chart. It is also a little bit more independent, and it's kind of like being the leader of your own life, and it's like really motivated to go after your dreams. So it's very exciting. Then we have Jupiter moving into the sign of Taurus in May of 2023, and it's going to stay there until May 2024. Now Jupiter in Taurus is very exciting because it's still motivated. We're still moving in the direction of our dreams, but it's more grounded and it's more focused. So we're able to kind of take a step back, reassess again, and kind of figure out how we want to move forward and really build a foundation that's long lasting. So we're able to really productively go after our dreams with Jupiter here. So again, look to see where Taurus falls in your chart. That is where you're going to experience that expansion, that growth again, from May 2023 to May 2024. Now we also have Saturn moving into Pisces in March 2023. Saturn has spent the last 2.5 years in the sign of Aquarius. It hasn't been the loveliest placement because Saturn and Uranus were making that terrible square and wreaking havoc and causing chaos. But when we have Saturn moving into Pisces, this is more bringing more of a focus to like spirituality. And this is like compassionate kindness energy, compassionate and kind. This is compassionate and kind energy, and it's very much focused on the collective and finding empathy for other people. So it's really beautiful energy. I'm really looking forward to see how Saturn in Pisces is. It's also connecting us to something deeper than ourselves, and it's allowing us to kind of lean into like mental health a little bit more. Maybe we can see some mental health advancements. Maybe we can see some shorter work weeks, so 4-day work weeks. A lot of us are burnt out, especially over the last 3 years. And I think that Saturn in Pisces is going to slow this down and help us find ways to kind of work in a more effective way that doesn't burn ourselves out. So like none of this like go energy and this constant like I need to prove myself, I need to be productive, I need to keep going. It's going to really slow things down and allow us to establish boundaries and create a structure that is long lasting and preserves our energy effectively. So really excited to see what happens with Saturn in Pisces. We also have Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius in March 2023 as well. Now it's only going to experience this short little stint in the sign of Aquarius because it is going to retrograde back in June to the sign of Capricorn. So we're getting a little preview, and then from January 2024 we will have Pluto in its full transit through Aquarius for about 20 years. Now, Pluto hasn't changed signs for almost 20 years. So this is really exciting. This is a huge shift of energy. And so Pluto in Capricorn has kind of been chaotic and a little bit turbulent. It's been this like kind of like transformative energy around global power and around like the government and all those things. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is going to kind of shake things up a little bit. Remember that Aquarius is like innovation, change, it's technology, it's advancements. So we can see a lot of things shift around society, around technology, around social media, and so much more. So it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be we're going to start to see kind of things that are outdated kind of change, which I think we really need. We've also started to see it already among the collective. I really do think that the systems and structures are going to change, especially with Pluto and Saturn switching signs to Pisces and Aquarius. So I really do think that we're going to see some really exciting things happen. A little scared for certain technology things, don't want to see robots and all those things, which we could see take place. And we could also see a huge shift in social media and how we kind of engage through social platforms. Now, we also have the nodal axes switching in July. So we've been experiencing Scorpio and Taurus eclipses over the last 2.5 years. They have one final stint in 2023 until they fully switch into Aries and Libra. So we're kind of like reaching that closure period in these eclipses. So look to see where Taurus and Scorpio are, to see what kind of themes have been taking place over the last 2.5 years. We're going to feel a shift next year as it moves into the signs of Aries and Libra. Now this should feel a little bit lighter because the Scorpio and Taurus eclipses were really intense, and I do think that Aries and Libra is going to feel a little bit better. Again, take a look to see where these fall in your chart to get a better idea of what themes will take place. We also have a Venus retrograde taking place. This happens every 18 months, and the Venus retrograde is happening in the sign of Leo. So I recommend that you look back in 2013 to see what kind of themes were present. It would have been December 2013 when we had the last Venus in Leo retrograde, and that will give you an idea of what themes like kind of might take place for this Venus retrograde. So Venus retrograde can have a big focus on the self, like self-worth, self-love, how do we show up for ourselves, and it can be relationship focused as well. So kind of looking at our relationships, who are we in our relationships, what do we value in our relationships, what needs to shift, what needs to change, what's working, what's no longer working, those kinds of things. And again, this can be relationship focused for love and also with our friendships. So this is a really good time to kind of lean into you, look at your finances, because again, Venus is finances, resources, all those things, and really give yourself that like self-love and self-compassion. So those are the most important upcoming transits and changes in 2023. Let me know what you're most excited for. And that is the astrology for January and the astrology for 2023. And I will see you next week. Thanks, everyone.